see. How is everybody out there? This is our third episode, and today we are visiting with Lady J. She's been music personality for several decades now. Can you turn your mic?
Yes, ma'am.
Volume on there. It's okay. We got a technical difficulties once in a while. That's okay. Yeah, it's still turned. You gotta turn it all the way on. That's all right.
I'll keep going. I'm gonna keep going.
Just hold that button down until it goes all the way
Till
up.
it clicks.
There we go.
Yeah, but it's not doing it.
Well, I've been. Where's your volume button on the side there?
Yeah.
Push the bottom.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing, and it's not going all the way into that. So I'm going to this.
Oh, I see what you're doing. Yeah, do that.
See if I can manually
The second
do it.
one.
Fucking,
There.
there you go. Now this should go all the way off too.
Should.
It's not.
Well, that's all right. I guess we're gonna have a little bit of background noise.
Yeah.
We can't have everything. We can try. So I've got you here today because I figured you're still in town anyways. We had this Women of the Blues Festival, which we told you about the last two shows. On my premiere episode, we visited with DeWall Brown, and she is one of the ladies that was here for the Women of the Blues Festival. We had a great 1 hour premiere episode. We had a great time. And now, since we just ended that yesterday, and yes, I did sleep all day. It was a very busy weekend.
It was a great weekend.
It was. Oh, did you leave again?
It walked me all the way back.
Technical difficulties. You know, it happens.
You're
It happens to the
backstage.
best of us. We'll figure it
I
out.
shouldn't be backstage though.
Oh, there's
Bam! There it is.
Ah.
Well, you know,
Anyway,
us old people, we're not the best with this. Oh, there's that noise again.
okay.
That's not okay.
So she was still in town from the festival. She was our MC. She's been on KFAI radio for 30 years. She wrote a book. She is known as the best blues storyteller in America.
I don't know about America.
I think so.
Yeah, I think if I just hold it like this might be the solution.
I hope your
Well,
arm
let's
doesn't get
see.
tired.
Yeah. Yeah, the festival turned out really nice. It was a 2-day event, and with a big jam happening on one evening. And then the other evening, four, count them, four ladies of the blues participating, and it really brought the crowd out. I think the men were all in the forefront. Oh, you know, all in the club. They were in front of all the ladies to see these four beautiful women. And it worked out quite well. DeWall Brown, and then Amanda Fish, and then Shannon Kerfman, and then closing out the night was Lori Morvan and her band.
Oh,
They hosted the jam on Friday night, right?
yep.
And then they came back all dressed up in glittery for Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think it went, this is you guys' second year doing this, correct?
Yep.
So what do you think? Are you happy?
Yeah, we had a great turnout this year.
So I
Oh,
think
that door's supposed to be locked. I'm live. Oh,
so,
my
yeah,
goodness.
well, you know, the looky-loos.
Mhm.
Everybody wants to see where Mama T is.
Well, you know what? Get on your phone, get on your computer. You can visit me every Sunday if you want to.
We're not getting your great food when you're sitting here doing your podcast.
Well, that's true, but I'm normally closed on Sundays anyways. And I know since people love that food so much that I would have to do this podcast on a day that I don't work.
I didn't realize you guys were closed on a Sunday.
I normally be closed because I told little Bobby, I'm like, man, I cannot work 7 days in a row. I gotta have a day off once in a while. And it's not like, I'm on my feet all day, every day,
Exactly. I mean, I watched you over the last 2 days. You're the chief cook, you're the bottle washer, you're the server, yeah, you're the manager, you solve problems, you're the troubleshooter.
And when things break, I do that too. And we've got an apartments upstairs, so I'm also the landlord. And we have one apartment up there that we use for bands that come have some place to sleep and or overnight guests. So every once in a while, it's housekeeping. So I had housekeeper too.
So, I think you're sort of preaching to the choir out here, but I think people would like to know exactly where is Little Bobby's Bar and Grill? Where is it located?
Well, the studio that we're in right now is Untouchable Production Studio, which is Little Bobby's label. It is housed in this beautiful historic building that was built in 1889 that houses Little Bobby's Bar. And Little Bobby's Bar and Grill.
It used to be an opera house, right?
There was an opera house upstairs. We're in McIntosh, Minnesota, by the way. I think that's what she was trying to get me to say.
Yeah, and the highway that runs through here.
The highway too. We're halfway between Bemidji and Grand Forks. It's a major highway. You guys can find me. Come check out the food.
Yeah, really. She makes these. It's a bean dish that I can't even. I don't know how to describe that.
I didn't make the cowboy beans. That was different.
Oh my God, those were great. But your coleslaw was killer.
Yes, I did make the coleslaw. I did do that. We put that on top of the. So we've got Elvis coming in, right? And you'll see we've got a little graphic for that.
Yeah.
And we promo the show. He comes every month for the rest of the year. But when he was here, Bobby smokes all the meats, okay? And we get the pork tenderloin. He injects it with barbecue flavored whiskey and puts it out on that smoker, and it's mouth watering, falls apart in your mouth. So we're like, okay, we're gonna make a sandwich out of this, right? So we toast these nice, beautiful Kaiser rolls and of butter and garlic, and then we take a nice big heaping pile of this mouth-watering, delicious pork, pile that on there, and make some little pretty barbecue stripes on there, and then get a nice little pile of coleslaw, top it with a couple rings of onion and some pickles, and you got yourself a Sean Wallen Memphis hip shaker.
Well, I have to apologize to you folks out there for the extraneous noise. It's coming from my phone.
Oh, I thought you guys were feedback.
You know, it is. It's something.
We know it's wrong. It's her phone, and we can't fix it because her
laptop isn't working. So yeah.
I just shut the volume off.
I'm trying to
Shut the volume off.
It is. Thanks for trying, though. Oh, you know what that means? You know what that meant?
No.
Bobby's watching my podcast.
So he came in to see if he could problem solve.
Yep, and I was on that other one, but he didn't really watch that one.
Well, this one is different. He's invested in this one. That's why.
I think so. I think maybe he just got a little investment. Oh, I thought we were going to have a sign back here that said Untouchable Productions.
Well, it's probably here. You guys have just been running around so much the last couple of days that you haven't had a chance to do everything.
And you know what? I've got to apologize. I owe Shannon Kirkland the biggest apology. So when we were talking on the phone before she came here, Bobby was telling her, speaking of my food, this great fry bread that I make. It's his grandma's original recipe, but he just knows like a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But I got the recipe perfected for his grandma's fry bread. And we had promised that I was going to give her fry bread when she came. And she even asked about it. And I was like, I've been running around so much that I completely forgot about it.
Well, you can send it to her.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I messaged her this morning and I was like, I'm so sorry I forgot about that. But you know what? Maybe I can vacuum seal some and mail it to you.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
You can Amazon anything these days.
I wonder if that's working yet. But that would be
well, folks, I apologize. This noise is It's every time I try to shut my phone all the way off, I lose the connection.
Is this one?
No,
Yeah.
she's using it. She was using it for rest.
Yeah, but I figured that was part of the problem. That's why I picked it up.
Keep going.
Sounds like crickets. We know it sounds like crickets, folks.
Oh,
And it's okay. It's the modern technology problem.
yeah, we're trying it. We're in the works of getting it fixed here. I've got an actual professional here trying to take care of the problem for us.
Try this
Yeah, so we might end up just sharing. We're just sharing my computer screen and just shutting her phone off altogether. That would take care of because she's going to be here for the first half of the show, and then I've got Pat McLaughlin. Yeah, Pat McLaughlin with
Yeah,
McLaughlin
Yeah.
here. Yeah, we're gonna do it like that because.
Just snuggle up.
Hi.
Okay, we're just gonna shut you all the way
Yes,
down.
shut it off.
He's powered off. Come on.
Okay.
Power off.
Yeah. There we go.
Way better.
This'll work. Go.
And,
Okay.
and besides, we are in the same space anyways.
Well, we are. I mean,
before it looked like I was in another room or even another town, but I wasn't.
no, she's not even remote this time.
Hi, folks. Isn't this better? Thank you.
Well, it's not like we didn't share an apartment last night.
Yeah, exactly. And a kitchen,
Oh, yep.
which is really the thing for two women.
and a bathroom that doesn't lock.
And a bathroom that
That's-
doesn't lock.
That's always interesting. Anyway,
So
what did you?
This is still kind of weird. I don't know. Is it me? You know what? I guess I just didn't realize I was quite this much shorter than you. I really am. I didn't realize it.
So better.
Yeah, it is better. Jesus, you're statuesque.
My grandma used to tell me when I was a kid that I didn't stand up, I unfolded.
Yeah, long arms, long legs.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You said grandma. Are you from here, Minnesota?
Yeah, well, my grandma, let's see here. So no, I'm actually from Wisconsin, and
I know.
I'm from
Trying to get
Wisconsin.
these
I was
delay
born,
right.
I was born in Wisconsin. I grew up in Thief River. My grandma was actually from Ireland,
Ah,
and so that's on my mom's side.
you said thief. You actually grew up in.
I grew up in Roseville, Minnesota, but I spent my 20s in Thief River Falls, and that's where I met little Bobby.
Ah.
Yeah. So we do have comments already. Coming in, John Lutz. Hi,
Uh-oh.
Mama T. Well, hi there, sweetie. How are you doing today? Miss you.
I know people are probably staring at my shirt. I'll just do like this. You can see what it says.
It's KFAI.
KFAI. It's the radio station down in Minneapolis that I'm on the air at. Been there 30 years. Since 1994. When you say 1994, it doesn't sound that far ago.
No.
But when you do the math, that's 30 years ago.
I know, isn't that crazy?
That is a child's lifetime.
Uh-huh. I sometimes think, we're talking about the 80s and the 90s and sometime, and I'm like, oh yeah, like the last decade. Yeah, that's right. I'll be 50 in July. I'm old.
Yeah, and that decade was 30 years ago.
Oh,
It's like,
feels like yesterday.
I know. It's where has the time gone? Is what I'm.
Well, I know that I've
Besides COVID, we know where that went.
Right.
Yeah.
This is such a fun place.
Macintosh. Or the
bar. The bar. I meant the
Okay.
bar.
Okay. But she means Bobby's Bar and Grill.
Bobby's Bar and Grill here in McIntosh, Minnesota. Did I say that 3 times yet? I think I'm legally obliged to say it 3 times.
Yeah, but I think that was the third. I think you get it per hour. It's 3 times per hour.
3 times an hour. All
Yes.
right.
That constitutes an official ad in the broadcast world, whether it's radio or whether it's television.
Mm-hmm. So, which act did? So the lineup we had,
Right.
I think that the way we had that lined up made each of those women complement each other even You know what I'm trying to say?
Totally. It did. It rolled smoothly from one act to the next act. It really did.
And it's like and they are all so different, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like one person's style when like after Dewar was done, then you bring on Amanda Fish, and like her style is so much different, but they complemented each other, you know? It just, oh, and you know, oh, look, John misses me too. He was on another podcast I was on.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you were there too.
And just so you know, that's just too far for me to read it.
Yeah.
My eyes are too old.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Look at that. Yeah.
Oh
What
yeah,
the hell's
yeah,
that saying? And the print is too tiny.
Yeah, I thought maybe I better look at that again, make sure it's not anything weird. That's what it looks like it says from here.
Mm-hmm. Well, I want to know though. I mean, it's an interesting concept doing the ladies' side of the blues. But what made you guys think about that?
Bobby has always been into supporting women and respect for women, and so many of the women in blues are just unrecognized. Like they're like, this isn't a woman's world. Get out of here, you know. Well, then you get people like Etta James, you know, and Coco Taylor, and you know, they kind of made everybody think, oh, you know, maybe this isn't a man's world. See what I did there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, got it.
But he also Bobby had what is it? The Hobson. I can't think of the name of the album, but he had done like a woman's album, Women of the Blues album, back.
Oh, I remember that album. Yeah, and the producer that worked with Bobby on that. And so it was 10 years ago. It was. Was it 10 years ago? Well, 10 years ago was just 2014. So think about it. This is 24. So it was about then, I think.
I'm trying it. Yeah.
So he just always
feels
a resonation. Is that what you're trying to say? He resonates with the ladies' side of the blues. And
he's got a real good ear for women in the blues too, like their voices. If it's, you know, you can tell, he knows right away. Like there's this gal that possibly going to be on our show next week. She did a couple songs on God Made Me Blue. And God Made Me Blue is, and she is Bobby's album. This last one was Dealing from the Bottom of the Deck, which was the song that you heard on the two of the songs that you heard on. Well, no, one song that you heard on the opening credits there. March On. That's from this last album, Dealing from the Bottom of the Deck, and then the previous album, that Killer Bee Sting. You know, those two are still both in the charts together.
I believe it.
And then right before that one was God Made Me Blue in 2022. And she was on two of the songs on that one. Those two albums alone, God Made Me Blue and Killer Bee Sting, were #1 and #2 in Minnesota for 6-7 weeks beginning last year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, and then finally, you know, God Made Me Blue, you know, kind of dropped down a little bit. And Bobby's like, yeah, I should probably put another record out so I can have two on the charts at the same time again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I played that Killer Bee Sting on my show, and I understand how it could be up there for 6 weeks.
Yeah,
it's a great CD.
All last three, well, all of it's okay. I'm not obligated to say this, but I think all of his albums are really good. This isn't the Bobby show. Go, darn it! How did I go there again?
I was asking about the blues, this festival.
This gal, she really has a bluesy voice, and she prefers a different genre of music, you know, it's just fine. But he really had the ear, and he's like, he knows this song, and she's perfect for this song, and he's got an ear for that, you know.
Well, you know, maybe she just can bring an element of the blues into whatever genre she wants to do. So it still works for everybody, for everyone concerned.
Oh no.
So did you think that bringing a blues festival to Macintosh? I mean, it's not like it's down in Minneapolis, right? We're not talking that.
Yeah.
We're not even talking the suburbs like Bloomington. This is 5 hours north of the Twin Cities. Did you guys have a hesitation about drawing people?
Well, we get people from the cities. We get people from hours away to attend these festivals here. We had a country festival here. We had rap, and those don't get. They had a good turnout, but yeah, the locals didn't really care for that. That's apparently they could hear it like miles down the road, and they were trying to put their kids to sleep because it was an outdoor one.
It was outdoors.
They had a big tent, and they like
yeah,
blocked off the street.
Rap outside is probably not a good
Yeah,
idea in
no,
Macintosh,
no.
Minnesota.
But no, we did get a lot of local support this year. I think people are starting to figure it out, because it's not really a blues area like people listen to. Would we prefer around here to listen to rock and roll or country? Because when the locals come in and they go to the jukebox, you can tell what kind of music they prefer.
Right.
And but it's little Bobby's, and he's a blues musician. And if you don't like blues, well, you'll have to wait till he's not here.
Well, since we talked about Bobby, what made you decide to start a podcast? I know it's your third one, and this is a question that probably should have been asked a couple of shows ago, but what made you decide you wanted to do a podcast?
You're going to make me stay professional, aren't you? Wait a minute. Who's interviewing you? Who here?
I know.
But, okay, so I wanted to go a certain direction. This last podcast I was on, it wasn't going in the direction that I wanted to go with it. I wanted to focus more on music.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Good answer. Good answer.
So, because I like to stay professional, there's probably a lot of answers I could have given to that question. But I just want to know. I just want people to know. The last podcast I was on, I didn't have. I did have a few issues, but most of them were just like ongoing things that I just decided this is what I'd rather do. I didn't even think I'd be good at doing a podcast. I mean, and I appreciate being on the other one because I got my foot in the door. I got comfortable. Well, I'm real comfortable, aren't I? You can tell. And the other one, I used to drink heavily during the podcast. But it was kind of a boys show anyways. It was a lot of boys focused on boy stuff, like boy toys like cars and knives and wrestling and
So you're just saying it just wasn't your cup of tea. Let's just put it like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you moved on to develop and host and produce your own.
And spread my wings a little bit because I decided I wanted something shorter. I wanted something more focused, more personal between one person and another person. And I feel like if people know what to expect and they know it's, hey, I've got an hour drive from here to there. Hey, you know what? I can hit that button and I can listen to Momma T.
And why not?
Because I'm kind of weird. I don't know. People think I'm kind of weird.
Well, the second half of the show is dedicated to a particular event that's going to be taking place. And it has a military theme, the second half of the show. But what people don't know is that you had a little time in the military too. Didn't you tell me that? And
what are we going to talk about when I come on your show? You get it all out now.
Plenty.
Yeah, I was in the Army. So I went in to be a medic and I got through basic training, and during basic training, I tried telling them that I was crazy, and they didn't believe me, or maybe they did believe me and thought, "Hey, that's just what we need here in America's Army." But then and then got to AIT and went to Fort Sunny Sam, Houston, and you don't tell your grandma she's wrong in front of people or at all.
No,
Because
or your mother,
right? Well, apparently the same rule applies to drill sergeants. And after that, I was kind of like the scapegoat, and if somebody's uniform's not pressed, all right, you too, Barker, let's go. Oh, boots aren't shiny, you too. Yours aren't shiny either. Let's go. Too many Article 15s. I got Chapter 11. Long story short.
okay.
Well, and then the last one was this girl, like, tried telling the drill sergeant that she saw me and her boyfriend banging in a laundry room or something, and I'm like, man, are you kidding me? Like, there's no way you could have seen us. We were way back in the corner. Oh,
Anyway, so, but I just said that to say that's why you're sort of resonating yourself with the idea of this Vets Fest, and it's coming up in the second half, right?
Got to do everything to support our vets. Absolutely. I mean, they're about as appreciated as women in blues.
Yeah. But well, I have a sort of a military connection too, because my ex-husband back in the 70s joined the Marine Corps to keep from being, because back in those days you could still be drafted, and he had a very low number, and so instead of being drafted, this was what he was telling me anyway. He was my boyfriend at the time. Instead of being drafted and being thrown into any service, he just enlisted so he could pick the branch that he wanted, which was the Marine Corps, because he had two brothers that also were in the Marine Corps back in their day. And so we lived in California. We left here, Minnesota, and went down to Millington, Tennessee for his schooling, because he ended up becoming a helicopter mechanic. He works on helicopters. I think it was called the Harrier type, the ones that they take off like this, but they can hover. Oh, so he works on board ship, during battle. Anyway, he served 4 years at first, and then we came back home, got divorced, and then he went back in for 20 more years.
Yeah, my grandpa was in the military. My uncle was in the military, and I just thought, oh, that's really cool. We got it. And so I'm getting told we got 1 minute until our next guest comes. You're welcome to sit here for the interview with Pat too. I mean, this lady's great. I mean,
Thank you.
Yeah, this is the second time I've interviewed her on my podcast I was on, and this time it felt more like you interviewed me a little bit, but that's all right.
Well, that's what happens.
People watching Mama T, they might want to know about Mama T,
Exactly,
I guess.
Exactly. And I'm a 30-year broadcast, television, and radio veteran, so I know how to flip that script.
Oh, yes, you did.
And get you to talk about yourself more.
Oh, nobody wants to hear about me. They just want to look at me.
Well, there you go. And this is what Mama T looks like. Ta-da.
I'm just joking. I'm not that good. I'm not that awesome. Yes, she is. Oh, John meant you.
He did.
John says she's awesome.
Well, who is John? Do I know what John looks like?
Screaming Sam. Screaming Sam. He's the guy from the other podcast.
Hi, I just thought your name was Sam. I didn't know you had a real name. I'm sorry. I didn't know you had a government name. I'm so sorry.
That's funny. That's funny. All right. Well, we are gonna we're gonna take our break here. It's not really a break, but are you gonna stay for the second half?
Well, I think I'll let you just talk to Mr. Pat.
All right. Well, I'll probably just turn this then, unless I don't know.
Yeah, then you have
but
your screen all the way back, and I think the producer's going to bring up some music or something.
Yeah, and he's going to bring up Elvis poster, I believe. I think we're going to do a little advertising for the bar here for a second.
There you go.
There's the Elvis tribute show. We will be hosting Sean Wallen as Elvis. He is Elvis tribute artist. He is going. Don't let anybody tell you that Elvis is dead, because he is living and well and plays here in McIntosh every month for the rest of the year. This month he is going to be here at 5 p.m. on June 13th. Next month, July 26th, he will be here at 7 p.m. Saturday, August 31st, he will be here at 5 p.m. Oh yeah, that poster's up. You can read that for yourself, can't you? This guy is really good. He really sells it. I mean, he does the kicks. He can actually sing and sound like Elvis. So, okay, there we go. I think we got it. Then every Wednesday night, we want you to go ahead and listen to Little Bobby's Juke Joint. 9 p.m. Central on Pioneer Radio 90.1 out of Thief River Falls. He has a little radio show he does. He's been doing for many, many years, and he highlights different musicians, blues musicians usually. He's got, I think this last show, he highlighted all of the different women that were at the Women of the Blues Festival this weekend. So that was really exciting. It was a really good show. You guys, I wish you guys could have been here for the Women of the Blues, though. It was great. Yeah. Oh, yes. Thank you.
June 15th.
June 15th.
There.
Oh, yeah, that's right. There was a misprint on the poster. It's June 15th this month. All right. It looks like we've got Pat here. How are you doing today, Mr. It's McLaughlin, right?
Yeah, McLaughlin. I'm
Okay.
doing great, Mama T. How about you?
What's that?
I said hi.
I'm doing great. How about you?
Oh, wonderful. Little Bobby said to tell you hi.
Tell him I said hi back, and I want to see him again here soon.
Ugh,
I see
wow.
him. I see him when he comes down, and he goes to the Blue Saloon to jam.
Oh, yeah. Walewski's. I've been there with him. Walewski's
Yeah.
is great. I love that place. I've got to turn I can't really hear what I'm doing here. I'm going to have to turn this up just a little bit because I can hardly hear you. There we go. All right. So you are a musician, first of all.
Blues musician, yeah. I've been playing publicly probably for this time 25 years. So
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah. Where do you play?
Well, pretty much all over. I'm a snowbird, so I go to Florida every winter.
Oh,
And I've
fun.
been playing down there, a couple festivals down there. Did one festival with Michael Allman, Greg's
Oh, wow.
oldest son, and one of Greg's his old bass player, Andre Bika. So that was fun. Yeah, I just play all over up here in Wisconsin. So
And do you have like a band or a solo?
yeah,
act?
well, Pat McLaughlin band, but then I also do solo acoustic stuff, which I did
Okay.
last night. Yeah, that kind of kept me busy during COVID. So
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So you've got original music to them?
some, not as much as I should, but you know,
Well, yeah, I know, you just keep on working at it. You got a studio or something
yeah, I got a little studio up here.
okay.
But yeah, thanks for having me on. I hope Lady J sticks around.
Well, actually, I think she just went to.
Okay.
So she does do her own show, and you
Right.
you already know her, obviously.
Yeah, she's been really supportive of Vets Fest.
Oh,
My
yeah.
nonprofit's called Vets for Music, and we put on a festival called Vets Fest.
Okay.
So we've been doing that for I think 8 or 9 years now, and I'm
Where's
starting
that?
to do one in Florida too. So
Where do you do that at?
well, we started out at Richard Walton Park in Oakdale, and then we moved around during COVID. We had to have it at places that we couldn't have over 250 people gathered in one spot.
Oh,
So we had to do some mini Vets Fest, which worked out pretty good.
okay.
And now this year we're having it at the Bavarian Gasthaus Hunter, which is in Stillwater, Minnesota.
Okay.
And we got an exciting lineup. Headlining will be Anika Chambers.
Ooh.
Yeah, her and her husband Paul, great band, fantastic band.
What
And
did she
she's
just
also
win? She just won something, didn't she?
she just won. It was 2024 Female Soul Blues Artist of the Year from the Blues Foundation.
Yep, that's what it was. I
Yeah.
knew it was something. I've got a very terrible memory for like details and things. I know that name, and I was like,
Yeah.
what was it? Glad you know. So who else is playing?
Well, let's see. My band, Pat McLaughlin Band, will open up on Saturday, June 29th,
Okay.
and then followed by Tim Sigler. That's from 4 to 6. And then the next day, Paul Mayasich starts it out again at 1 o'clock. And then Anika Chambers, Paul Delorier. It's hard enough to say his name, much less spell it. So, he's a French Canadian.
Oh,
But yeah, they got a phenomenal band. They got, he's won many awards of his own.
awesome. Like what?
Canadian entertainer, performer of the year, stuff like that. And then Paul Mayasich, he's always really good. I'm sure Bobby knows Paul.
I'm sure he does. I'm sure he does. There's a bunch of people. He'll be telling me something, and I'll be like, "Who's that?" Oh, we met them. Blah blah blah. And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, sure, I remember."
Yeah. But I could give you a little history as to how we got started. I'm a disabled vet myself, and I'd volunteered over at the Minneapolis VA Medical Center, and then I found out that they had bands that would come in every so often. So we started going over there probably a dozen years ago. It was my band at the time, Pat McLaughlin Band, and we witnessed some nothing short of miracles. We were playing one time. You play there for an hour, and when we got done playing, this lady came up to me and she pointed a young man out that had a helmet on, and she said, "He's a traumatic brain injury." And she said, "I've worked with him for a couple months, and rarely did he connect with the outside world." And she said, by the time you guys were done playing, he had laughed a couple times and spoken a complete sentence. And when you can do something like that, when you can help humanity like that suffering, it made me what I wanted to do was bring a camera in and actually film that. But with the patient privacy, they're really strict on that. So I kept thinking, well, how can I get word out as to, because another time we played, this guy was literally dying. It's for the vets in community service. Mm-hmm. And he had hours to days left to live. And when I was playing, I kind of made eye contact with him. I could tell he was very sick and just holding on. And he was there with his wife, and she was very, very classy. Just, she wasn't nervous at all. And she just said, we got done playing, and I walked over there and I tried talking to him, but he couldn't really talk. He was that sick. And she said, well, he's been a musician his whole life. And she goes, I just want to thank you so much that we're able to spend our last hours together on this earth listening to music. So when you get enough stories like that, all the guys I play with, like Taco and JD and now Terry Ferguson, they're always saying, when can we go back? But COVID really put a crunch in that too.
On everything.
Right. Yeah. And then another thing that we do is we raise money and we try to play in it used to be 5 VA rest homes throughout the state of Minnesota, because the only veteran community service or community living that has a budget for music is the VA, Minneapolis VA.
Okay.
The rest of these guys, they're just sitting there, and anything, I've been laid up for like over 3 months, so I know what it's like. And anything to brighten up your day.
Absolutely. And we're all about the vets here. Like, we've got a dedicated vets forgotten shoulder table.
Oh yeah.
Full play setting. You got your wine, your red wine, your white wine goblet. Play setting was actually donated by a local woman who dedicated an honor for father.
Okay.
Yeah. But this last show I did, so I also do this newsletter, right? It's not just this podcast. It's not just writing Bobby's one pages for him and having a pretty face on his arm when he goes to the cities, you know. I do a
Who needs
newsletter.
that? No, I'm just kidding.
um, the first page is like highway stories, and then there's a featured artist. I just realized I haven't worked on the newsletter for June yet, and I claim to have them out on the 1st of every month. So sorry out there, folks. I got a little bit behind on the newsletter this month. I'll have it within a week. Sorry. But the second page is a Veterans Corner. And
Okay.
I go through and I either interview a vet, find a local vet to interview, and you know how vets are. They just, some of them are like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to
Right.
brought to myself. I just doing my duty. That's all I was doing. And
Mhm.
you know, some of them are ashamed of some of the things that they were told to do. You know, they
Well, what they had to do to survive,
Mhm.
you know, and well, I heard Lady J talking about her husband. I had a low draft number too. I had one cousin that was killed in Vietnam and another one shot up. And so my draft number was low. So the one that made it through said, join the Air Force, Navy, or Coast Guard. So that's what I did. Then they quit drafting like 6-7 months later. So I don't know if I'd have gotten drafted or not, but I didn't want to take that chance.
Oh, I
So yeah, and but yeah, it was good for me. And also, I think it's really good to point out here that Anika Chambers is a combat veteran.
really?
Did 2 tours, and I've been working with her as part of our another extension of our Vets for Music. Is we are offering a scholarship
Mm.
once a year to hopefully Anika and I are working on having like maybe a female veteran who's experienced military trauma.
Okay.
Maybe offer well, if we offer a scholarship, it's $1,000 scholarship broken up into two halves, and we're just hoping that maybe, you know, some of the veterans can heal through, you know, their own music, expressing
Definitely.
themselves through music. And so yeah, that's just getting off the ground, and Anika did recommend a woman to me, and we're still trying to connect up on, because nowadays with you know, with Zoom or whatever, you can take voice lessons in the privacy of your own home.
Right?
Yeah.
So there are a couple good things that came out of COVID, you know.
Yeah.
Well, not good for bars, I guess, but you know,
No.
people learned that they can sit at home and drink in their garages and play their music as loud as they want to and have their little man cave. And hey, I don't have to worry about buying it one bottle at a time because it's more expensive that way. And
Right.
I don't have to worry about getting a Dewey. But
Right.
COVID is over, people. Get out of your garages. Get out. Come see these musicians.
I still, it still doesn't seem like some of the bars have totally recovered. People just got in the habit of not going out.
Yep.
And it's slowly coming back, but you know, some neighborhoods are a little faster than others. But I also, if you don't mind, I should mention a few of our sponsors here.
Yes.
We are sponsored through MRAC, Metropolitan Regional Arts Council.
Okay.
We get a grant from them every year to put this on. Also, we've in the past partnered with the Minnesota Vietnam Veterans Charity, and they've in the past have provided a Huey helicopter landing and another smaller helicopter. It's an observation helicopter called a Loach.
Okay.
It's real small, looks like a little mosquito buzzing around. And then some vintage warplane flyovers.
That's
so yeah, they've been really helpful with us. I've also partnered with the Southwest Florida Blues Society. I am a snowbird, and I've been spending more and more time down in Florida during the winter months. I mean, someone's got to do it, right? But yeah, I'm doing a Vets Fest up here on June 29th and 30th at the Bavarian Gasthaus Hunter in Stillwater, Minnesota. And then I'll be doing one in Mankato. We've been doing that This will be our 3rd year down there. And then I'm doing a final one in Florida in November, the day before Veterans Day.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And if we just collect donations, and that's what we use I send bands to different VA rest homes throughout the state. And I think the one in Bemidji, I think it's open now. And I was going to talk to Bobby about going there, maybe doing a solo acoustic show for him.
That would be, yes.
Yeah, because I played in Laverne, which is quite a drive, and so when I know people or bands real close to a VA rest home, I'll hire them and send them there, and our nonprofit pays the musicians to do that, so it's a win-win.
Well, yeah, that's definitely a win-win. There's so many things that we can do for our vets that is so healing, and music is definitely one of them. And just, yeah, it lifts your spirit, then we've got a local guy. He was on my second episode, Ari Schwartz, and he's a vet himself, and you should really watch that episode. It was Bobby Drangler was on first, and then Ari was the local. You know who Bobby Drangler is, right?
I've heard the name, yes.
Yeah. Well, he's also a vet and a musician, so he was on first, and he talked about his military career a little bit, his music career, and then I had Ari on, and Ari. So I was doing the newsletter, and I was looking for a vet in the back of my head. I was grocery shopping to interview for the Vets Corner, and I saw this man walking along with a dog, and the dog had a service vest on, and I was like, so which of you was in the service? You were the dog, And he starts laughing, and he's like, no, it was me. This is my service dog. And I get spatial issues. So the dog helps him keep people arm distance, keep people in their space and stuff. And, things like service animals, things that he does here locally. He gets funding to take people on spearfishing and knife making classes and hiking and canoeing or kayaking, whatever. I can't remember what the difference is, but
both pretty similar.
Yeah, I think so. Like, you get in the tiny little boat, you try to paddle, and you probably tip over and drown.
And if you get really good, you can pull a water skier. No.
Yeah, you're funny. That was
well, I try to be. I have dad humor, I guess. So
yes, I love it. That's all right. So
but, one thing I'd like to back up just to that Huey helicopter landing. Hueys were used in Vietnam. They were the workhorse of Vietnam, and their rotor blades make a very distinct womp womp sound. And when the Huey was coming in to land, it's kind of cool because they do a reenactment. They'll come in and land, and then they'll set up a formation just like they did in Vietnam. And then the helo takes off, and then they pop smoke and it comes back in. And anyway, I was standing close to another Vietnam veteran, and he said I was wounded, and he goes, I was laying in the jungle floor in Vietnam, just feeling pretty hopeless. And he said, the second I heard that womp womp of those rotor blades, he said, I knew I was going to live. So when this chopper lands, there's a lot of emotional, people react very emotional to it.
Okay. Well, I'm seeing, when you're describing this, I'm seeing the opening credits for MASH.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. Cause I know a lot of them that's how they got around, troops and wounded. Those chopper pilots were huge heroes. They would land in just about anything. It's so much, and that's one of the reasons personally that I love vets and I appreciate what they do, because most people run from the fire. Yeah.
And I'm not just saying like, oh, it's on fire, run away. I'm saying like you're being shot at and you're running towards it. I mean,
Right.
most people are like, you have to be crazy or stupid, No, they're defending you.
Right.
Because if they weren't there running at the gunfire, that gunfire will be aimed towards you.
Well, eventually it's going to get closer and closer and closer, and yeah, it's luckily I didn't, like I said, I was a sailor, so I didn't have to experience any things like that. Those guys really went through a lot.
You were in the Navy? Is that what you told me? You were in the Navy?
Coast Guard.
Oh, okay. Did you
Shallow water Navy.
Okay. So I was gonna say, did you ever cross the equator?
No. In fact, the only time I was on a ship was on the Great Lakes.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. I just want to ask the viewers if there's anybody out there that has any questions, go ahead. And if you're watching this live, just put it in the comments. Somebody will tell me, hey, there's a question. I can see some comments over here on the StreamYard. So just if anybody has any questions about the Vets Fest or about Little Bobby's or anything like that, go ahead, and every week you're more than welcome to go ahead and throw a question or a comment on, and we'll read them on air.
That's great.
So what kind of music do you play? Is it mostly the blues?
Mostly blues, yeah. Maybe a little bit of rhythm and blues. Maybe some of the things that were rock/blues, like Clapton. Since I've been going to Florida more, I've been playing more Southern rock, like Allman Brothers, and I've been playing the slide guitar a lot the last couple years, and I do it like those Southern boys do. I sit down and I set the guitar on my lap.
Yeah.
And use it kind of like a lap steel. So,
yep.
And at my age, it's pretty nice to not have a guitar hanging on my neck the whole 4 hours. So,
and to be able to sit down.
Right.
So what musicians inspired you to, how long have you been doing music? I mean,
I think way back, Jimi Hendrix, of course. And then when I was serving, a lot of guys, if you played the guitar, you had acoustic guitar, because, you didn't have to carry an amp or anything around. Right. And originally I was a drummer. I was a drummer in a rock band in high school. And I did take some guitar lessons, and then it kind of transferred over. We start, you sit on the fantail of the ship and all got your acoustic guitars, and we do sit back there for hours and play. And so, yeah, that was enjoyable. That's how I got started. But at that time, I think there were a lot of really popular people played acoustic guitar, like Crosby, Stills, and Nash. I'm trying to think of, Gordon Lightfoot, James Taylor. We do all songs like that. And then, let's see, I got out and got married. And when I got divorced, I got custody of my kids and raised them myself. And
wow, Mr. Mom.
Yeah, I was Mr. Mom. Literally. I mean, and then when my son got to be about a junior, I started realizing, okay, once he graduates, he was my youngest, and I had 3 kids, and I just thought, I got to find something to do with my time here. So I started playing guitar again and singing and playing hockey again, and which I had to quit a couple years ago, which that bothers me. I can still skate, but I can't play hockey.
Hockey. Oh my goodness. I grew up in Roseau.
Oh, they had some good teams.
Yes, they did. Yep. Yes, they did. So one of our viewers wants to know what part of Florida you're from, or that you go to and do your.
Now I go to Cape Coral. That's where I stay. But I think the Vets Fest that we're going to have down there is a place called the Twisted Fork, and I believe that's in Port Charlotte. Now, I was just down in Florida last week, and I played at a blues festival, and it was in Venice, Florida, which is that whole area is just gorgeous. It's nothing but white sand beaches, and Cape Coral didn't get quite hit as hard as Fort Myers did.
Okay.
Fort Myers is right across the river, and Fort Myers Beach got demolished, and that was one of the most beautiful beaches in the U.S.
Oh, that's devastating.
It is.
So we only have a couple minutes left
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Um, you were talking about how you play your guitar. Oh, what kind of guitar is it?
Well, I mean, literally,
Like what do you normally play? What's your favorite instrument?
Well, I play a Strat when I'm standing up, a Fender Stratocaster. I was a Gibson man for many years, but on the road they don't last so well.
Did you hear that, Fender? He loves Fender.
But I do have
That's
Gibson.
what Bobby plays too. We're trying to get a new sponsor here.
Fender would be a good sponsor to have. Gibson too. I've got some Gibsons, and those are the ones I play slide on because I try to. Well, gets a little technical. I tune to an open E tuning, which is what Dwayne Allman tuned to. So if you want to do Allman Brothers, that's the best way to go that way.
And Bobby does. I know it's technical, and I can't remember exactly. He is a step down. He plays like I think he said
You can
guitar like BB King.
Yeah, well, Stevie Ray Vaughan always went a half step down.
Yep.
Because you can use heavier strings, which means you get more tone out of them. So, and Bobby can make his fingers fly even with those heavier strings.
Oh, I know. Yeah, he's pretty phenomenal, isn't he?
He's a great musician.
You'd almost think I'm in love with him or something.
Well, I'm not, but I like him, but that's it. No,
just as a friend, as a musician.
yes.
Sorry. Well, that's another reason Lady J had asked me like why I wanted to do this, and having such a phenomenal person in your life that can do the things he does, like he needs a promoter. I mean, yes, this is me. This is my show. This is about me, but I'm also doing it to help promote him. This is the Buzz newsletter, the Little Bobby Buzz. It's got bar schedules in it. We have recent events where we put pictures of the different acts that were here. We do a featured artist on the front. I told you about the highway stories and the featured artists. Yeah. Highway stories are usually road trips with Bobby. Nice. Or the featured artist will usually be somebody coming up to play here at the bar. You got your vets section, and then it's like all Little Bobby. On the back of it is free local advertising for local businesses. Yeah. In exchange. Well, that's good. You're doing the community a service then. Yeah, I'm trying. Well, all you can do is try to make a difference. Yep. And you know what? Like when you play your music for the vets, some of them, they could probably care less. But the one guy that laughed a couple times and had said a full sentence, it made a difference to him. And as long as what you're doing is having its effect on at least one person. Yes. And even lessens their suffering for that hour. The one lady that schedules the music there said, you can tell how good a band is by the guys. They talk about it. The guys in community living, they'll talk about it, like after. And she said, it's to the point when you guys come, they're talking about it a week before and a week after. So that gives them a half a month of something to do. Well, Pat, I'm going to tell you, thank you for your service. Well, thanks for having me on, Mama T. Appreciate it. I appreciate what you did and what you're still doing. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for being on my show. Oh, it was my pleasure. One more time, Vets Fest. It will be June 29th and 30th of this year at, but let's see, Gasthaus Bavarian Hunter, it's called. And it's right outside of Stillwater, Minnesota. It's a big, beautiful venue. It holds 5,000 people. So. And where do the proceeds go? Well, the proceeds this is a free event. So when we get the grant, that's what we use for the event. But then we take donations, and the donations go towards
the other things I've been mentioning about playing in the rest homes, VA rest homes, and now we started the scholarship once a year. So yeah, we're trying to make a difference. That's all we can do.
All you can do is try, and I'm sure that you've made a major difference in a lot of people's lives, and I appreciate you for that, Pat.
Well, thank you so much.
Well, thanks for being on my show, folks. You have been talking to listening to me talk to Pat McLaughlin. Sorry.
That's fine. My grandpa liked it McLaughlin.
McLaughlin. See,
Yeah.
I can say it like that better.
So you're Irish too, so you know.
Yep, I am. But you've been watching The Buzz with Mama T. Thank you so much for joining us and watching our show. I'm here every Sunday night at 5 o'clock. Tune in, tell your friends, share, like, subscribe, or whatever whatever buttons you're supposed to hit. And that's my time.
Thank you.
Thank you.